Hello, my name is Maria and today we're going to talk about language immersion. So, immersion in language learning. Does it really work? Is it really the most effective way to learn? Is it the to-go method for everyone? Is it going to work for everyone? And I'm here to answer some of those questions, or at least try. And first of all, I want to tell you there are a lot of controversy with this in the language learning community. Some people think it's not necessary, some people think it's necessary, some people think you can do it from the first day, some people think you can do it only when you're advanced. So there's a lot of points of view and I'm going to share mine with you. So I have to say that immersion doesn't guarantee that you will learn the language. You could be 5 years in a country and never learn the language. That can happen. I've known people that had this situation. But it's the method that I like the most, that works for me because it's the only way I know how to learn languages. But as I told you, this is my perspective on immersion, so just find your own point of view with this topic because I think it's kind of like you should have your own point of view with this. The way I say there are two types of immersion. There is the natural immersion where you go to a country and immersed in the language and in the culture and you're just surrounded by it and you have to use it for your daily life. That's the classic. We all know. I had experienced it when I moved to Belgium for an exchange year when I was 17 years old. I lived with a Belgian host family. I adore them. They're the best. I had the best experience and I learned Dutch. By immersion, by listening to it, by going to school, by just having a regular Belgian life. And I did have lessons to complement my immersion process, but I learned mostly by the immersion itself. So it proved to me that it can be effective if I wanted to. There were other students that they really didn't care about Dutch and didn't learn further away from the basics that they needed to go on in the daily life. So what are the advantages of this method is first, you always have someone to practice with. You can always go outside and speak. You can speak with the mailman, with the grocery store people. You can just speak the language with everyone around you. Another advantage is that you learn useful phrases, useful words, because you learn first what you need. And also you learn even dialects, so you sound a little bit more like a native speaker. And I also believe that it can help you perfect your accent and your pronunciation because you have actually people that is telling you this is not the right way to do it, to say it. You should say it like this, not like that. And also by listening to it so much in a natural way, it helps you reproduce what you're hearing and really understand the differences of every sound you're making. It makes you in a way more aware of your accent, but it helps you to fix the things that are not so good in your accent. I'm not saying that my Dutch accent is perfect, but I do feel like it got better because of that. Disadvantages of the natural immersion is that it is not a magic thing. You can't just go to a country and learn it. You have to be actively in a position where you want to learn. Otherwise, you won't learn a thing. It can be also very frustrating when you try to express yourself and you don't find the words. And if you don't have a middle language like English, it can be very frustrating to just try to express yourself and say what you need or what you want. And it can be overwhelming at times. It can be even tiring. Sometimes your head will ache. You will feel physically tired because of your brain always trying to, capture all of that information. So it can be overwhelming. My advice, if you are into natural immersion right now or you're planning on going to, it's go and speak the language. Sometimes in countries, for example in Belgium, if they hear me with a weird accent, they will start speaking English to me. If they do that to you, keep speaking, for example, Dutch or the language you're learning. Answer back in the language or even tell them, like, I'm trying to learn the language. Please, you will help me a lot by speaking just the way you speak every day. And yeah, my advice is just take advantage of that experience and go out there and really, really try to grab as much as you can before you go back home. If you have or have ever been in a natural immersion situation like I was, please leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear your stories. I love this. I love the whole idea of traveling to another country and experience the culture and the language by being there. So please share your story with me. Now let's talk about self-immersion or artificial immersion. So this is the one when you're not in the country where the language is spoken, but instead you're in your country or any other country, and you create an environment of immersion in your house, in your car, in everywhere that you can control, actually. So this means that you're listening radio in your target language, you're looking for information in your target language, you're watching TV, watching the news, and in your target language, and you even find a language partner to speak with or a pen pal, and you write in the language, and you do as much as you can in your target language. So it will be like living in the country in a way, not entirely, but in a way, because everything you do, you're doing it in the language you're learning. And I had this experience when I was a kid at school, because I was at a bilingual school. So every day, half of the day, I will be speaking English. That's how I learned English. My accent is not perfect because I have never lived in an English-speaking country. I don't have many American or British friends. I have some, but not many. But still, I learned by an artificial immersion where at school, half of the school hours were in English. I had to speak English. They will teach us history, like about Martin Luther King, about Thanksgiving and Halloween. They will teach us stuff from the culture as well. So I can say that I had an artificial immersion thing going on at school. Then when I moved to another city and had to change schools, it was when the internet was all, everywhere. We had Facebook at the time, it was brand new. So I got to immerse myself to like kind of self-immersion in the language. So up to this day, all the information I look for, my movies, my music, is in English, and I have many people whom I speak English with. So yeah, that's my artificial immersion experience, and for me, I think it worked. I mean, you can understand me, right? I didn't really learn with books, I had books at school, of course, but my English grammar was at the same level as my Spanish grammar. So I will learn, English subject as I will learn a Spanish subject. So the advantages of self-immersion is that when it gets overwhelming, you can just turn it off. You can just stop, and you can take days off from it. Also, it's a cheaper way to learn a language by immersion than to go in, to a country. You can learn it from home. So you don't have to change your whole life to learn a language. And it helps you to prepare for an actual moment when you're going to use the language. There is that you're going on vacation or you're moving to the country, or you have a friend that speaks the language. It really helps you to prepare to go and speak the language. Disadvantages: you need a lot of willing power, and you need to be able to control yourself and don't give up easily, because it can be draining at times to listening to everything, searching on internet in another language, putting your phone in another language on your laptop, it can be frustrating at times. So really, that will be a disadvantage that, yeah. Second, it might not be easy to find a language partner, depending on the language, depending on where you live. It might be hard to find someone to talk with, and it can be even hard to find resources for certain languages that are less studied. My advice, get creative. Find things that you love and try doing them in the language. For example, I love knitting, and I like to find patterns that are knitting patterns that are in other languages. So I get to practice the language while I'm doing something that I love. Watching YouTube tutorials in other languages, writing a journal, and you know, just finding ways to include the language into your daily life. And if you do it effectively, it will stay with you forever. Hey guys, so I was editing that last video and I realized there was a bit that I didn't film. So here we go. To recap a little bit, the way I see it, there are two types of immersion. You have your natural immersion and the artificial or self-immersion. So one, the natural, is the one where you travel and, you know, it's like the whole thing, and then the artificial is, you know, the environment that you create for yourself in your home country or wherever you live. Both have advantages and disadvantages, and none of them guarantee that you can actually learn the language. If this is not your method, then try something else. This is my method and I love it and I tried to do it this way as much as possible. If you're gonna do this, it is very, very important that you enjoy the process, that you are actually having fun with it, because it is, for me at least, this is like the reason why I do this, because it is fun to do. Something else I want to say is to start immersion whenever it is good for you. For some people it is best from the beginning, from some others it works best when you're more advanced. So just do it whatever you think it's better. And I have to say that once you start adding it into your daily life, it basically stays with you forever. You get so used to do certain things in certain languages that afterwards, when you're maintaining it, it gets so much easier. So this is all for today. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, follow me on social media, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye! You can also check my Patreon. I have a lot of cool stuff there, and if you want to support what I do, please also check my Ko-fi. If you can't give me money, your likes and your love and your comments are enough for me. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you next time.